Good morning, dear students. Today we'll start our new chapter, that is tissues, second chapter of Standard 9 Biology book. Let us first understand what does tissue mean. A tissue is a group of similar cells performing a specific function. Means a group of cells together, they perform a specific function and together they form tissues. Most plants and animal, they possess tissue system. Okay. Now, as we go to the basic idea, we can find it out as, first of all, the cells are the smallest unit of any living organism. So when these cells, they work together, they join together, they form tissues. When the tissues, they work together, they coordinate together, they form organs. When different types of organs, they work together, they form organ system. Take for example, circulatory system or respiratory system or excretory system. So these all system, if you notice, these all system comprises of various organs. So when these organs, they join together, they form organ system, and these organ system together forms an organism. Okay, so this was a basic idea about the tissues and about the organism, how they work. Coming to our next slide, we'll start with plant tissues. So plant tissues comprises of two types. Plant tissues are of two types. One is your meristematic tissue, another one is your permanent tissue. From the word permanent, you can guess that these tissues, they are permanent, means they have lost the ability to divide. Just opposite to that, meristematic tissue, they rapidly divide to give growth to the plant. So let us study these two types of tissues one by one, starting with the meristematic tissue. First of all, meristematic tissue found in the growth parts of the plant. As I said you, it gives growth to the plant lengthwise and widthwise, means it gives the growth. Suppose this is a plant, so it will give growth to the plant lengthwise and widthwise. Okay. Coming to the next point, the cells, what type of cells they have. Cells have thin wall, large nuclei, vacuoles are absent, no intercellular spaces, and cell division we can see rapidly in meristematic tissue. If we go through the structure of this meristematic tissues, the cells, if you see, you can find the cell wall, which are, these are the cells. Okay, so if you can find the cell walls, these are very thin. You can find a large nucleus, okay, and you can see no intercellular space between any of the cells. So these are the characteristics of your meristematic tissue. Okay. Coming to the types of meristems. So there are two types of meristematic tissues. One is apical, another one is cambium. First we'll see where these tissues are positioned in the plant. If you see the first diagram, it's a diagram of a plant. So in this we can see the apical meristem that is present at the tip of the plant. The root tip and the shoot tip comprises of apical meristem that gives growth to the plant lengthwise. Then after that, coming to intercalary meristem, that gives growth to the branches of the plant. Suppose if I'll draw a leaf over here, so that is giving growth to the leaf. So these tissues are present here to give growth to the branches coming out from the stem. And the last one is lateral meristem, which gives growth to the plant in width wise. Okay, now in next diagram we'll see about, in the next diagram we'll be seeing about the growth of a root system. There's a diagram of a root system. If you see, now these are the small cells, and the cells which are present at the downward part, these comprises of your apical meristem tissues. One more diagram I have just attached with this part, that is the diagram of a cambium that gives growth in a width wise of a plant. If these sections are taken from here, if you notice, the sections are taken from here. So these sections, if you see, this gives the plant a thickness to the plant. Okay, so hence these two things gives the example of apical meristem and cambium meristem. Apical meristem present at the tip of the root and shoot system. Cambium meristem that is present in the just below the tissues, the cambium region, and that gives thickness to the plant. Coming to the next slide, we'll study about permanent tissues. Permanent tissues, as I said, you have lost the ability to divide. The cells, they divide to certain size, and after that they will attain that situation in which they will further not divide. So those comprises of permanent tissues. They may be living, they may be dead. So there are three types of permanent tissue. One is the protective tissue, another one is a supporting tissue, and the third one is a conducting tissue. So one by one we'll be studying about these tissues. Coming to the protective tissues, from the word protective, what can you understand? That means the tissues that provide protection to the internal part of these plants. Okay, now these cells, they have thick walls and they do not have intercellular spaces, means they cover the full plant with its tissue, which provides a protection to the internal parts of the cells, internal parts of the plant's body. So they are found on the surface of the roots, on the surface of the stem, on the surface of the leaves. So here is one diagram in which I'll be showing you a part of leaf, surface of the leaf, if you can see. So these are the structures which are present inside the leaves. These are the structures which are present inside the leaf, and the leaf is surrounded by a type of tissue which is known as epidermis. This is the upper epidermis and this one is the lower epidermis. Now these epidermis, they are protecting the internal part of the leaf. Now if you can see here, this is the stomata. Stomata, that is an opening that helps in the process of transpiration, that helps in the process of respiration as well. Now in these stomata, they have guard cells in it, and these are the only openings which you can see in the leaves. Okay, rest all are covered with the epidermis that helps or that protects the internal part of the leaves. Coming on to our next type of permanent tissue, that is supporting tissue. So these are also of three types: parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Let us understand these type of tissues by the following diagram. So here I have given some microscopic images about the parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Let us study one by one. So coming on to our first diagram, that is parenchymal tissues. So first of all, these parenchymal tissues, they have thin cell wall. If you can see, the cell wall are thin. They do not have, almost intercellular spaces are absent. Now they have nucleus also, and these parenchymal tissues, they helps in the storage of food for the plant, like leaves also contains parenchymatous tissues which helps in the storage of food. Okay, so these are present in the soft region of the plant that helps in the storage of food and water in it. Next type of tissue is collenchyma. Now this collenchyma, if you view the diagram or the image, you can see these are provided with thickened corners. The cells are there. The cells are provided with thickened corners. So these thickened corners, these are because of the deposition of pectin and cellulose. Cellulose and pectin and cellulose, these are a type of carbohydrate or sugar that gets deposited in the corners. Okay, now these type of cells provide support to the plant, support and elasticity to the plant. So these are present in the stem region, in the leaf region as well. The next type of cell, if you see the diagram, that is sclerenchymatous cell. Sclerenchyma, if you see sclerenchyma, they have thickened cell wall. So this part is the cell wall. They have thickened cell wall that provides support and rigidity to the cell. If you take the example of nuts, the nut shells, they are very tough. It's very hard. Why? Because they are made up of sclerenchymatous cells. Then woody stem, if you remember, you imagine the woody stem, the surface of the woody stem, bark, that also consists of sclerenchymatous cells. So these cells are dead cells. They have lost the ability of divide. These are dead cells. They provide support and rigidity to the cell, helps the plant to stand erect. So here are the three types of permanent tissues, supportive permanent tissues. One is your parenchymatous tissues that helps in storing food inside the leaves. Another one is your collenchyma that helps in providing support and elasticity so that the leaves can easily bend as they wish. And the third one is your sclerenchymatous tissues that give support and rigidity so that the plant will not die, the plant will stand erect. Okay, so these are the three types of parenchyma permanent tissues. So in next video we'll be studying about conducting tissues.